Good morning, everyone. My name is Thomas Ryan, and I'm part of the sustainability team here in Tirlawn. Thank you for taking the time to join this morning's webinar, which has a timely focus on sustainability and the wider agri-environment at a time when so many of our international political leaders are in Egypt this week, charting the next phase of an international response to the climate challenge at COP27. During this webinar, we will look at how our dairy farmers can continue to receive the half a cent a litre sustainability action payment by now going onto your Tirlawn Farm Life account and declaring at least 7 actions that you've taken this year from a menu of 18 options. This webinar is also timely because these actions need to be taken now to ensure you continue to receive that half a cent a litre. I'm joined this morning by my colleague Emer Coleman from our Digital Plus team, who will also talk us through the steps for you to declare how to declare your sustainability actions on your Tirlawn Farm Life account. As always, your questions are always welcomed and matter, so please, as you listen to the presentation, will you text your questions to 086 180 3947. That's 086 180 3947. So I was saying, look, the sustainability landscape is quite current and live at the moment. Earlier this week, the UN Secretary General, a guy called Antonio Guterres, in his opening address at COP27, had some very stark messages for the international community, where he said in just days our planet's population will cross a new threshold. The 8 billionth member of our human family will be born, and this milestone puts in perspective what this climate conference is all about. How will we answer when baby 8 billion is old enough to ask, what did you do for our world and our planet when you had the chance? He was even more direct when he said we are on a highway to climate hell with our foot on the accelerator. However, with a message of hope, he concluded humanity is a choice, cooperate or perish. And in the context of cooperation, we've clearly set out through our Living Proof sustainability strategy, the journey we're on here within Tirlawn. Living Proof is our commitment, co-op-wide, to farming, food and the future, focused on 5 core areas of carbon reduction, regenerative agriculture, natural nutrition, the circular economy and growing together. In the context of focus on the on-farm piece, some specific callouts are around biodiversity, with the objective of having 100,000 native trees and hedging planted by 2021, which was achieved 12 months ahead of schedule because of your good work, with the co-op going to step out in the next couple of weeks with ambitious objectives out to 2025. In the area of carbon, the objective that by 2030 reducing by 30% the emissions associated with every litre of milk that's produced, and equally around soil health, that 100% of our suppliers will have nutrient management plans in place by 2025, and all our suppliers who are in EPA identified priority areas for action in water quality will have ASSAP water quality plans in place. It's good to have this strategy, but now for the focus of this webinar, turning that strategy into action. And our ASSAP programme and our Sustainable Farming Academy are important measures, but this sustainability action payment is a really important element of delivery of our Living Proof strategy. So we launched this voluntary sustainability action payment, which will result in milk suppliers achieving a milk price payment for delivering specific sustainability actions. Half a cent a litre has been paid to all suppliers who deliver on defined actions. And under this initiative, 18 sustainability options are available that we'll look at in a moment, from which you're requested to achieve up to 7 options that you'll action on your farm. On the basis that you deliver on your individual selected options, the full sustainability payment will be paid at half a cent a litre or a pro rata basis for partial delivery. If we look at more detail on that, the programme began this year as part of a 3-year programme with a full review taking place at the end of the 3 years in 2024. As you can appreciate, the success of the programme will be monitored annually by our board, with the programme updated as appropriate. We recognise sustainability isn't a new journey for many of you, and in recognition of that, farmers' current on-farm sustainability actions for this year, you're all receiving that sustainability action payment at half a cent a litre unconditionally. However, importantly, for year 2, for next year, the sustainability payment will be based on delivery of up to 7 actions from a menu of options. Over the duration of the initiative, the menu of options can be extended to provide an increased range of choice for milk suppliers in terms of sustainability actions that can be selected. If we look for a moment around the 18 actions, we can see here that in the whole area of carbon reduction, it's around measuring grass growth, clover use, multi-species, milk recording, improving herd EBI and low crude protein feed. Air quality, it's about low emissions and protected urea. Biodiversity is about native trees and hedging. Soil health, having a nutrient management plan in place. Water protection, ASAP, the water quality plan. Renewable energy is there, and importantly, animal health and welfare in terms of herd disease screening, participating in a 2020 beef club, improving your somatic cell count and the use of sex semen. We'll have a look for one moment around some of the detail around each of these 18. I think importantly, if we look here at the first 10 actions, the column there on the right hand side is really important, when the action needs to be taken. For all of the actions we're going to look at, they all need to have been taken before the end of this year in order for you to be able to lock in that ½ centilitre again next year. So things like measuring grass growth, it's about having a minimum of 10 covers uploaded to either Pasture-Based Ireland or equivalent. Clover use, it's clover purchased in any of the 3 years, 2020 to 2022, recognising you may be in a reseeding programme from Tirlán at a rate of minimum purchase of 5 kgs. Similarly there around the multi-species swards, and equally you can see there measures such as improving herd EBI. It's simply an improvement of €1 or greater is required. So it's about demonstrating a trajectory of improvement. If we look maybe at measures 11 to 18, we can see the ASAP water quality planning. And what that's about is where required to be completed, that the ASAP water quality plan is in place in 2022 or before. Fencing off water courses where at least one field or paddock with drain, river or stream where the water course is permanently fenced off. And then you can put importantly, these actions need to have been taken this year and declared on your Tirlán Farm Life account in order to lock in that ½ centilitre again for next year. So as we move on to the next slide, I think the important thing to say to you is we're here to help in terms of going through the detail and navigating your way through your Tirlán Farm Life account, so as you understand how to go in and log in and declare your actions. And we're joined now by my colleague Emer Coleman, who'll go through the detail of how to declare the actions on the on your Tirlán Farm Life account.
Thanks, Thomas, and good morning, everyone. Delighted to bring you through this morning how to actually bring you through a demo of the site and how to actually upload your actions on the TirlánFarmLife.com website. So once you go to TirlánFarmLife.com, you navigate to the My Account area just from the home page. Here you're brought into the landing dashboard page, and on the left-hand side of the navigation, you can navigate to the Sustainability Action Payment Plan page by clicking on the link. Once you land on the link, you'll be brought into the page which will show a full list of actions which are available for you to view, to look at further and to select as part of your submission for 2022. There's a list of 18 actions, as Thomas has outlined. Just important to note, to see the full list, you use the slider on the site like this, which will bring down and make available all 18 actions. If you'd like to get further information, as Thomas has outlined in some of his slides around any of the actions, you just use the View Requirements dropdown, which will open up further information, and each item has a YouTube video which will also bring through further detail on any of the actions. Once you've decided which actions you'd like to submit as part of 2022, you simply just select the tick box on the right-hand side. And once you are satisfied with the selections that you have chosen, you tick the confirmation box and you submit your selections. This then brings you to a page which shows you what selections or what actions that you have selected for 2022. Just important to note, there is a progress bar at the top here, and once you've selected 7 items or 7 actions, you will see that you have hit 100% and will be on track to receiving full payment in 2023 for the actions submitted. If at any stage you would like to go back and edit some of the selections up to the end of this period, you can just use the Edit Selection button, which is available here. This brings you back to the page, which has the full list of items and actions outlined again, and you can easily deselect an item, or if you wish, you can add more items to your selection. Upon completion, you just confirm these items again and you submit selections yet again. And you can use this edit selection up to the end of this period as many times as you like. So that completes the demo that I have done this morning. Just going to hand you back to Thomas, where we'll both take any questions that are coming in.
Emer, thank you for comprehensively going through how you actually go onto the Tirlán FarmLife account and how you actually declare your sustainability actions. Some of these questions I just see here, so to say to you, there are questions being texted in, and a reminder that the text number is 086 180 3947. So that's 086 180 3947. And we have a number of questions come in that I think you've actually addressed in the presentation, but let's go back over them just to confirm it. So the first question here that I see is, when I select my actions on Tirlán FarmLife, can I go back in at a later stage and add new measures? As in the case of this one, they're saying, I'm thinking of planting some native trees and hedging in the next few weeks. Emer, will you take that one, will you?
Thanks, Thomas. Yes, so just to confirm that you can go back, there's an edit selection button which is available on the site. Also, and very important to say that this is available on mobile and desktop. And you just click the edit selection page, which will bring you back to the original list of 18 actions, and you can select or deselect the items on this page, and then you simply just confirm this and submit selections again.
Okay, look, that's very clear. I think the next question is probably to me, how many actions do I have to complete in 2022 to receive the full half a cent a litre again into 2023? Okay, so look, the answer to that is, of the 18 that are available on that menu on your Tirlán FarmLife account, you are required to go in and to click on and select and declare that you've delivered on at least 7. So at least 7 actions have to be declared and delivered upon in 2022 in order to lock in that half a cent a litre again for next year. I see one here, Emer, that perhaps maybe you might be able to look at. So a supplier here is saying that they've logged into their account, but the sustainability action payment tab isn't there. What do they need to do?
So Thomas, if for whatever reason that the sustainability action plan is not displaying as it should, I would suggest that you would contact our customer service number, who will be able to help you with any queries around it, and they will be able to come back. And that number is 0818 321 321.
So will that number again, Emer, is 0818 321 321. Lovely. Okay. So and maybe just another follow-up question here, which I think is somewhere related. I don't have a Tirlán FarmLife account, so I can't declare my actions. What do I need to do? So this is a supplier who probably isn't on, previously would have been Glanbia Connect, but now Tirlán FarmLife. So they're not on Tirlán FarmLife, so they're not in a position to declare their actions. What steps do they need to take?
Thanks, Thomas. So again, if you would like to register an account on Tirlán FarmLife, it can be done very, very simply and very quickly, just by going to the tirlánfarmlife.com homepage. There is a register button. There is a very simple form to complete. When you are completing this form, you just need to submit one of your account numbers, either a milk supplier number or a trading account number, and then you submit that request. Once that request is received by our customer service centre, they will do a validation call with the person who'd like to create an account, and then they will link all of your information. So when you then go back into the website, all of your information is available for you to view. Very importantly though, Thomas, whilst the sustainability action payment plan action upload is there, there's also a wide breadth of very valuable information available. So around milk supply, quality results, milk statements, trading information, and much, much more. So if you have not created and registered for a Tirlán FarmLife account, then I think it would be something that would be great to do.
Okay, and importantly, it's the first step. So you need to have your Tirlán FarmLife account in place. in order to be able to go in and declare your actions. Okay, no, it's a good question coming in from a supplier, and thank you for the answer. Another text that has come into 086 180 3947 is, if I'm short on actions, are there any I can take by the end of the year? That's a good question, and look, two that jump out at me are measures 8 and 9 around native trees and hedgerows. So and the requirement there is regarding measure 8, it's native trees, a minimum of 20 trees purchased in your local Tirlawn Farm Life branch, or hedgerows, a minimum of 100 hedging plants purchased. There are two measures. Maybe you might be considering a milk recording as you're drying off. There was a requirement there around a minimum of 4 milk recordings. I think in the coming weeks, I was saying earlier, we will be stepping out again with our a very competitive offering around the Operation Biodiversity Programme. So that measure 8 and 9 around the native trees and hedging are certainly two measures that are jumping out at me. And another question that maybe I'll take here is, why must seed be bought from Tirlawn? And maybe look, the same could be said maybe for some of the other measures, such as protected urea, feed and so forth. I think in the context of this ½ cent a litre, it effectively represents a substantial investment by you and your co-op of 18 million euros a year. So this sustainability action payment, we said it's a 3-year program. So that's 54 million euros that's going to be spent by your co-op in terms of driving on environmental performance and working collaboratively with you. There is an ask within the sustainability action payment program for you to make a proportion of your purchases from your co-op, from Tirlawn, as part of that. It's not exclusively required that all your purchases around clover or your concentrates or your protected urea, that they're all made, but I think it's reasonable that as your co-op that there's a certain level of support. The other thing is, if you decide that you don't for some reason want to make purchases from Tirlawn, it is possible to achieve the requirements. There are sufficient other measures to be able to deliver on your sustainability action payment criteria, to deliver on the 7 without making purchases. But in the context of your co-op and supporting your co-op, there would be a call out around that, around supporting your co-op. I think another question here that you may have addressed, but let's just cover it off again, Emer. Can I change my actions?
So Thomas, yes, you can change your actions. So again, once you go back into the My County area of TirlawnFarmLife.com, navigate to the Sustainability Action Payment page, you will be presented with the list of actions that you have submitted, but there is an edit selection button on the page. And once you click that button, it will then present the full list of 18 actions, and you can select or deselect whichever items you would like up to the end of this period, and then you just need to confirm that again and resubmit that.
Okay, thanks, Emer. We have a message that has come in. If a farmer selects more than 7 actions in 2022, so this year, and there is a further requirement for actions next year, will that farmer be able to accumulate from excess measures in previous year's actions? Okay, so the 18 measures within the Sustainability Action Programme will not substantially change over the 3 years. So you'll see in the presentation, we said this is a 3-year program running from 2022 to 2024. We also said that in the context of developing the scheme, where there's some level of innovation or research coming through, let's say around a methane inhibitor or a feed additive, that there's scope for some of this wonderful science to be able to make its way into the sustainability action payment options. But to your point around this, it's not envisaged that there would be many substantial changes over the duration of the program. It's about delivery it's about focusing on taking the action to deliver the environmental performance, to deliver the environmental outcome. So the ask would be that you would also be declaring actions that you've taken in 2023 again for 2024 if we're having a similar webinar here again next year. Thank you. So maybe one more question that has come in is around the native trees and hedging. what's the requirement there? So regarding the native trees, it's a minimum of 20. And regarding the hedgerows, it's a minimum of 100 hedging plants purchased. So that probably hopefully covers off that. Yeah, a really good question here around how are you going to check or verify that I've taken the measures? Okay, so effectively, Tirlán, as you can imagine, we're not inspectors. This is an environmental program, the objectives of which are to improve water quality, to reduce carbon footprint, and to enhance air quality. So what we are doing is, in the first instance, we're putting a lot of focus over the next couple of weeks in supporting you to actually go online, go on your Tirlán Farm Life account and declare your actions, because that's the only way you're going to be able to lock in the ½ cent a litre. In Q1 of next year, we will do a sample assessment of a number of our suppliers versus in terms of the actions that were declared and the action that was taken. In that instance, we will continue to work with suppliers where there was a genuine error made to support them deliver on the actions they've declared. But importantly, many of our suppliers are saying, let's make sure when it comes to sustainability action payment that we're paying suppliers who are taking the necessary actions. So yes, in the event of a supplier who declares actions but doesn't take action, in that limited circumstance, we'll reserve the right around future payment of the sustainability action payment. But this is a program around which it's about improving and enhancing the rural environment. The objective right now with our suppliers on this call is to encourage you and to focus on declaring your actions so as you lock in your ½ cent. We will continue to work with you in the early part of next year where there's support required when we do a sample assessment, but it's about delivering the necessary action to ensure we're delivering on our objectives as part of our social license to continue to meet customer requirements and enhance our rural environment. So maybe one, and just a reminder here, because we only have about 2 more questions left, and we're finishing our webinar shortly, and the text number that our suppliers are texting into is 086 180 3947. That's 086 180 3947. And the question that came in was a reminder of the customer services and contacting them. So sorry, when I read through this is a supplier who, again, clearly may not have a Tirlán Farm Life account, and just a reminder around how they make contact with the customer services centre. So maybe, Emer, could I just ask you, would you mind repeating that again? Thank you.
Certainly, Thomas. So if anybody has any questions around this, if you just contact the customer service centre on the following number, it's 0818 321 321, or else you can email hello@tirlanfarmlife.com. hello@tirlanfarmlife.com.
Okay, we have 2 more questions that I think we'll be able to take, and the first one is, what are some of the most common actions that suppliers have taken so far? And the first thing to say to you is many suppliers, over half of our suppliers have actually declared actions, have declared more than 7 actions. So for suppliers who've declared actions, are really getting into the spirit of the Sustainability Action Programme, and they're, if you like, putting their chest out in a very proud way and saying, look, we're delivering on more than 7, and many, so well over half of our suppliers are declaring more than 7 actions. So well done in terms of the level and the scale of action that's been taken across our over 5,000 family farms. I think in the context of some of the actions, I mean, some that are proving really, really popular are milk recording, improving herd EBI, spreading slurry using low emission slurry spreading equipment, the fencing off water courses, improved somatic cell count, and the use of low protein concentrate feeds. They would be within the top 6 or 7. However, the caution I would say around that is Other measures such as the native trees and hedging will very much probably catch up at the back end of the year, because it's only from now on that suppliers are looking at, and it's the time of the year to be thinking about planting your native trees and hedging. The one last question here is, could you clarify if there are going to be more additional measures required over the next few years, and if so, how many additional measures? So I tried to cover off that earlier on. Right now, the focus is very much on the 18 measures that are there. We're not looking currently beyond the delivery of the existing 18 that are in place. But if there are changes, and we have to leave scope for, as I say, for new research and innovation between now and 2024, if there are measures which will enhance on-farm economic and environmental performance, you can expect to see them in. Just one question has come in around what is the around the role of solar panels. So one of the measures, it's measure 13, is around renewable energy generation. And the on-farm action required is that renewable energy generation system is installed and operational, and that can be solar PV, it can be solar thermal, or it can be wind. And that system is in place this year, and including previous installations. However, it's worth noting that solar PV installations from 2022 onwards are required to be from FarmGen, which is Tirlan's offering with our partner PVGen. And then maybe one last question around the low protein feed. So maybe just a question on clarifying the detail around that, which I'm happy to do. So measure 17, when you go onto your Tirlan Farm Life account, you'll see measure 17 of the 18 is low protein concentrate feed. And that option effectively is closed out now, in that it's the purchase of low protein dairy feed with a maximum of 15% crude protein from the 1st of April until the 30th of September. And it's 4 tonnes purchased per 100,000 litres of milk supplied in 2022, which is maybe approximately 20-25% of your overall fertilizer use. But look, that's the clarity around the measure, but the requirement was, if you're taking that box, that you had to purchase made between the 1st of April and the 30th of September. So I'm just looking here, and I think we've come to the end of our questions. We've had a significant number of suppliers who've actually come online and joined us, which is great for this webinar. And I'm just going to thank you for taking the time to join the webinar. And to my colleague here, Emer Coleman, our speaker, I'd ask you maybe to stay tuned to TirlanFarmLife.com or the Twitter account at TirlanFarmLife for the next webinar, which will focus on the acres scheme and ask ourselves, is there a role for the acres scheme for dairy farmers? And we'll be joined by the Department of Agriculture on that. Today's webinar will be available on the Tirlan Farm Life YouTube channel for anyone who wants to have a look back at the presentation, or indeed share the detail with your neighbours. And I'll conclude by thanking you for watching, and our supporting colleagues of Louise Hogan, James Brennan and John Warren, and say thank you and safe farming.